Of corruption and kickbacks against former sports minister Elvis Efriankra, GMPC and the World Cup Committee has taken a different twist as further evidence gathered by Joy News brings up a more compelling case. Joy News investigations reveal accountant of Evolution paid 80,000 Ghana cedis into GMPC Chief Procurement Officer's account the same day the money was withdrawn from Evolution's account. So how did all this start? How was the contract for the viewing centers awarded? And how did it get this murky? My name is Stephen Anti, and this is today's big story. Now, ongoing Joy News investigations into allegations of kickback reveals the accountant of Evolution paid 80,000 Ghana cedis into the personal account of the Chief Procurement Officer of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, Samuel Edo. Evolution International was awarded a 1 million Ghana cedis contract to organize 4 public viewing centers in Accra, Kumasi and Takoradi during the 2014 Brazil World Cup. Let's now recap the story of the kickbacks as was unveiled by our reporter Barima Osei Asare.
3 separate internal payment vouchers in the possession of Joy News indicate management's approval for the payment of money to former Youth and Sports Minister Elvis Efriankra, the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, and the Operations Committee of the Brazil 2014 World Cup. All 3 payment vouchers are signed and approved by the CEO of the company, Fred Dakon, who was also the project coordinator for the 2014 World Cup. An amount of 100,000 Ghana cedis was to be paid to Elvis Efriankra as production cost or PR. Another 100,000 Ghana cedis with the same description was to be paid to the World Cup Committee, while 80,000 Ghana cedis was to be paid to the GMPC. The GMPC awarded the contract to Evolution International and paid as part of its sponsorship of the Black Stars. Mr. Elvis Efriankra has denied receiving any such amount from Evolution.
Whoever signed this document or whoever, whether the person took it in my name or what, we need to investigate because nothing like that happened.
The chairman of the World Cup Operation Committee, Joel Neti, as well as some members of the committee, told Joy News no such amount came to the committee. An official of the GMPC, who was the supposed recipient of the 80,000 Ghana cedis, has also denied receiving any such amount. Lawyer for Evolution International, Alex Aban, says the company did not make any such payment to the 3 names and institutions mentioned. But he would not deny or confirm that the payment vouchers were generated from the company when he was confronted with the evidence.
I would not be surprised that these are documents from Evolution. I would not want to challenge that one.
When asked about Fred Dakon's signature on the internal payment vouchers, he said one of them appeared forged, but would not confirm or deny that the 2 are his.
I would not want to say clearly that all 3 signatures are forged ones.
Joy News investigation revealed that the GMPC check of 1 million Ghana cedis was paid to Evolution International's account on June 9. On 10th June, the 100,000 Ghana cedis allegedly paid to Elvis Efriankra was withdrawn from the company's account with the airport branch of UT Bank. On June 12, the 80,000 Ghana cedis allegedly paid to the GMPC was withdrawn from the company's account, while 100,000 Ghana cedis allegedly paid to the World Cup Committee was also withdrawn from Evolution's account.
Right, I've been joined in the studio now by Barima Osei Asare. Barima, good evening.
Good evening, Steve.
So what's the latest you have on this series of investigations you are doing into this kickback issue?
Well, the latest is that we've got some more revelations, and this basically has to do with one stage of the investigation to the other. We started with these documents from Evolution International, and some are doubting the authenticity of these documents. But we also, these are the payment vouchers from the company, and it contains the amounts to be paid. And we went beyond that to get the company's account to really find out, account details, to really find out whether there were withdrawals within the period that matched with these documents.
That's
and
right.
what we found out was that on the 9th of June, the GMPC paid the 1 million Ghana cedis into this account, that's Evolution account. And then on the 10th of June, the 100,000 Ghana cedis allegedly paid to Elvis Efiankra was withdrawn. On the 12th of June, the one allegedly paid to the GMPC, that's the 80,000 Ghana cedis, was withdrawn. And on the 13th of June, another 100,000 Ghana cedis, that's the one allegedly paid to the committee, was also withdrawn. We went beyond that to find out how these monies were disbursed, and according to our sources, what happened was this: the 100,000 Ghana cedis and then the 100,000 Ghana cedis for Elvis Efiankra and also the World Cup committee. Our sources said those amounts were given to Fred Darko, who is the CEO of the company, to be given to them. But the 80,000 cedis for the GMPC was given to the accountant of the company to be given to, paid to them. And so I tried to find out whether that money was also given to them by cash or it was deposited in an account. In the process, I was told it was given to one Samuel Ledo, who is the Chief Procurement Officer of the GMPC. And what I did was I got this man's account number and details, and went into his account, and lo and behold, we got details of those accounts. And what we realized that within 2 days, that's the 11th and then the 12th of June, he received payments totaling 144,000 Ghana cedis within those days. And this is someone who earns 4,500 Ghana cedis, according to the information we got. So this amount is about almost 3 years' salary, if he's to save everything.
That's right.
And so I went further and realized that out of these monies he received, there was 80,000 Ghana cedis that he got into that account. And that 80,000 Ghana cedis was paid the day the Evolution withdrew 80,000 Ghana cedis from their account. Its account. Besides, the accountant of Evolution, one Alfred Paddy, was the same person who paid this 80,000 Ghana cedis into the account of the procurement officer of the GMPC, Samuel Ledo. So I confronted him, and he denied everything. He didn't remember any Alfred who paid any money into his account and all of those things. So what I did was to confront him with evidence, and
there was nothing he could do from there,
but to
admit. I think we have your interaction with Samuel Edo, right?
And I think Ledo, and then on the screen that's the account details.
That's the account details.
Yeah,
so
you can,
I mean, from where we are, we can't see very clear. But
yes.
The amounts you were talking about, I've seen the 80,000.
You can see 44,000 Ghana cedis. You can see 20,000 Ghana cedis. And then the 80,000 Ghana cedis. And these are 11, 12, 12. So these are his account details.
Yeah, so Manasseh, let's try and get the interaction you had with Samuel Ledo, and let's listen.
But you are Samuel Ledo?
Yes.
And you have an account with GCB, Ghana Commercial Bank?
Yeah.
Kaneshi Industrial Area Branch?
Yes.
And was any money not paid into that account?
By who?
From Evolution International, one Alfred.
I don't recollect that.
In June this year.
I don't recollect that. So I think we need to be meeting, you need to be talking to Alfred.
I have been to Evolution, and this is something specifically about you. And I have details of that account here. Would you want to see it?
Details of the account?
Yes, your account.
And if money was sent to somebody, money was sent to my account by somebody, was it by Evolution?
Yes, Evolution.
No, it can't be possible.
So who is this Alfred who paid that money into your account?
I don't recollect him.
You don't recollect that 80,000 Ghana cedis was paid into your account in June?
By Alfred.
By Alfred.
The name of Evolution.
I said by Alfred. Do you have such person paying money into your account?
I'll really check.
and Alfred wasn't only the only one, but I think within that period, I don't know whether you know one Pearl Jifa Sedu. No. Sedu, Pearl Jifa.
I don't know.
What about one Rebecca?
No.
Rebecca paid 20,000 Ghana cedis that same week. Pearl paid 44,000 Ghana cedis into your account.
No, I don't. These are my personal accounts. I need to check. If I check, maybe you need to come back and we'll continue the conversation.
But I have the details here. I want to give to you the details of your account.
Yeah.
Do you want to see it?
I can have a look at it. But if it's not in any way evolution, I don't think I will want to do it.
So do you know why he paid this money into your account?
Yeah, but that's personal, so I don't want to be disclosing that here.
But you know the Alfred I'm talking about, and you know he works for Evolution.
I think he works for Evolution, but I'm not directly involved in any activity with Evolution.
So these two, other Rebecca and also Pearl Jifa Sedu, who are they?
I can't recollect them. If you hear about Evolution and Alfred, I know Alfred.
You know Alfred?
I know Alfred.
Okay.
But we are not here to be talking about kickback being paid into my account. That is not true.
Okay.
We'll be talking to Alfred instead.
Okay. But since your name also came up, I would want you to be on record to also tell me what
I don't need to. I can't be speaking on record on issues like this.
Okay.
Because when the issue has got to do with personal issues like this, I don't want to on record.
But in this case, it goes beyond personal, because the World Cup, the money that came from GMPC to sponsor them, wasn't your personal money.
I didn't receive that money because of World Cup.
The allegation here is that, and I have a document from Evolution that they prepared a payment advice. Let me show that one to you.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, of course.
Hey, how's it?
It's fine. I'm bringing your luggage.
Okay.
You're there.
Thank you. All right.
Happy reading.
Yeah, good.
The awake is also inside.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
This is Evolution International.
Yeah.
And then they raised this internal payment virtual payment advice.
Yeah.
That PR to GMPC 80,000 Ghana cedis.
Yeah.
That's on the 11th of...
I don't know about this.
No, what I'm just saying is that I just want to show you, because this allegation I'm working on.
Yeah.
And so there's this document that says on the 11th, this money should be treated as PR to GMPC. I don't really know what it means. 80,000 cedis. And Alfred is the accountant of Evolution. The following day, on the 12th of June, this amount hits your account. And the same person who worked on this is the same person who put that money into your account. So is there no link?
I can't draw that link. Maybe Alfred should be the one to prove this. I can't draw that.
Yes, the money was given to you. You have confirmed he paid such amount into your account. But I just want to know the purpose for that 80,000 Alfred paid. Because looking at this, I am convinced this is the kickbacks from Evolution. So
no, that is not it. The issue we are talking about is between myself and Alfred is personal.
So what?
I don't know about this one.
But do you run any other private business?
Right. So, Manasseh, these were interactions that you had with him, trying to extract some information. I'll have you hold briefly. We'll return to you and then talk later. We're told that Dominic Nitowol is joining us on the telephone now. Dominic, good evening, sir, and thanks for joining us.
Yes, good evening, and good evening to people who are listening to all of us now.
Now, this new revelation, which points to the fact that indeed Evolution paid a sum of 80,000 Ghana cedis to the Chief Procurement Officer of GMPC, Samuel Ledo. It's a bit worrying. What's your immediate reaction to these fresh allegations that are coming? Fresh evidence we're gathering now.
I think if what you put out on your network, and I don't have any cause to not to believe you is true, people should be answering very quickly what has happened. Because if you are the chief procurement officer and part of the organizing committee, and an entity that has won a contract pays 80,000 Ghana cedi into your account, then it's a kickback, it's a bribe. Nothing more, nothing less than that. It means that you inflated a contract with the mind to receive part of the money, or in the form of what we call a kickback in Ghana, as a form of a bribe, and there's nothing more. And I also hear that some monies were paid also into the former minister for youth and sports account, and then some other people. If it is true, then I believe that the minister should be stepping aside for more investigations to be carried. And that indicates our position in Parliament, that the committee that was set up by the president really was not set up to do any work but to cover our people. We have said it before, and we will keep saying the same thing, that we thought that the president should have allowed a bipartisan special committee to investigate it and look at all these things that have happened, because we had information. We went there, we told them a few of the things. As Parliament, we sent representation, we told them a few, though in camera, a few of the things that we thought that they should be looking at. But we thought that the president shouldn't have rushed through what he did, because when the minority then brought the motion on the floor of Parliament, it's when they rushed to do what they did. And we thought that it was a pretext to cover our political appointees. That's our first impression. And we are being vindicated, because if these revelations are not coming out, then it means that what we originally thought was the purpose of the committee is getting through and through.
So what are you going to do from there on? I mean, from here on.
Whatever the case, we're saying that punitive measures should immediately be instituted. The person at GMPC should be asked to step aside. I mean, somebody should intervene immediately, the boss. The minister, if there's evidence that money was also paid into his account, and of course, I'm sure by now he has spent that money, he should also step aside, and all other people for investigations to carry. And if it's true, then criminal prosecutions should be instituted against them. Nothing more, nothing less. Right,
Dominic Nitu, we're grateful for your time on today's big story. We will continue to the bottom of this matter as much as we can. Thank you very much. I must also say that the GNPC, Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, has released a statement in which it says that the attention of the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation has been drawn to a media story alleging that a named member of staff may have received improper payments from a company that performed a contract on behalf of the corporation. The corporation takes a serious view of these allegations. We will hold ourselves to the highest standards of public accountability, and we value and will continue to work for the public trust. The statement continues to say that we have accordingly instituted an inquiry into the matter. We ask the public not to rush to judgment. Like all citizens, our members of staff have a constitutional right to due process and to be treated as innocent until proven otherwise. This is a statement signed by Acting Chief Executive of GNPC, Alex Moult. This is in his signature. So, Manasi, these are the developments. You heard Dominic Nitu, but from the minority side, telling us that they feel that they've been vindicated because they raised this issue. And now GNPC has issued a statement thanks to the facts that are now coming forward. What are your expectations in this? Do you think that beyond just setting up a committee, perhaps some more letters should be made to step aside like Minority Leader is suggesting?
Well, that may not be for me to decide.
That's
but,
right.
It depends on what they intend to do and whether he, being in office, would interfere or not with the investigation or inquiry that is supposed to be done. But what I expect them to do is to really get to the bottom of this matter, because when I confronted him, he denied doing anything. He even said he didn't remember any Alfred paying any money to
we heard him clearly.
Everything was news to him. Until I presented him with his own bank statement and just went forward to him on his table. And I showed him, this is your bank statement, yes. He agreed to everything. Then I pointed the details to him. And so with that on paper, there was no way he could say no. So he said yes. The Alfred, he said he didn't know. He now said he knew Alfred. And I asked him, how do you know him? I know he works for the Evolution International. And why did he pay this money into your account? He said it's a private business. And so this person from the beginning to till the end would not even accept
that he even knew the Alfred.
Yes,
to start
yes,
with.
but at the end of the day, he accepted knowing Alfred, but he said that money wasn't a bribe. And so if that is what they are investigating, then it is very proper that they get to the bottom of it, at least because they are his superiors. They'll be able to prevail on him to really tell us the purpose for that money and how it coincided with the day, maybe on the 11th, we have a voucher here saying pay 80,000 cedis to GMPC. On the 12th, that 80,000 cedis was withdrawn from the GMPC's account, and on the 12th, that 80,000, sorry, it was the 80,000 was withdrawn from the Evolution account, and on that same day, that 80,000 finds its way into a GMPC official account. Official's account. And then this money was meant, according to the voucher, for the GMPC, and it was paid in by no less a person than someone from Evolution. So the public may have their judgments, as they are saying, but it is also proper, and we all expect them to get to the bottom of this.
Of it.
Come out to tell us, well, he said he took this money, why he took it, so that, as you're saying, the public can make a better judgment.
So in your investigations, have you been able to get in touch with the chief executive of GMPC who issued the statement?
Well, when I was doing this, certain specific names came up. And so if he had admitted, for instance, that this was something for all of us, we took the money and we shared, all fine. But they were individuals who were named. So if you have perhaps Elvis Efriankra, who was named in the ministry, and he's even no longer there, you have to go to the people who were involved, because sometimes it is a bit improper to put the whole, present a story as if it's about the whole institution. So I decided to go to the specific persons who were named in these allegations.
Who have been indicted.
We made sure that we spoke to all of them, got their side of the stories, and at the end of the day, we made them stand out from their organizations.
So you also posted on your Facebook that you've been invited by the police. I mean, what's the status of this so far? How far is the police taking this?
Well, the first time I saw it was a statement purporting to be coming from Elvis Efriankra, and that was since yesterday.
But we're not sure whether that statement comes from Elvis.
Yeah, it comes from him, because some journalists said they have spoken to him in other stations. And then this statement said the police have been looking for me for the past 2 days. That's what Elvis was saying. And surprisingly, I hadn't received any call from the police. So it was after I read that statement that I received a call from the I think the crime officer for the ministry's police.
I see.
Inviting me to the police station in connection with this story. So I told him I was going to speak to my lawyers first and superiors, because I'm working in a station, and so this is not a private matter, so I had to let them know. So I spoke to them, and we are still trying to
sort out the legal arrangements before deciding whether to go. But what do you suspect? You suspect that when you go, what? You feel that the police may be influenced by, to maybe stifle your investigations, or what? I mean,
well, this an investigation, and I think if Elvis Efriankra or someone thinks that they have been defamed by our publication,
they have a right to go to court.
They have the right to go to court, and they all stated that. Elvis Efriankra stated that, the Evolution people stated that on record when I was interviewing them, that they will go to court. And so we presented the facts, and we spoke to them, got their side of the story. So if the story is out there and is feel defamed, the best place to go is to go to court.
And we're willing to stick by whatever outcomes that we have. So if you're watching us, this is today's big story, and we're discussing the allegations of kickbacks that have been leveled against former sports minister Elvis Efriankra and some officials of GMPC and World Cup Committee, where Barima Osei Asare is investigating this. You also heard the interaction he had with Samuel Ledo, who is the chief procurement officer of GMPC. Initially denying any knowledge of the payment of such an amount into his account, and then subsequently, after being cornered by evidence available, he had to confess that indeed this sum of money. So Barima, what's next from here?
What's next? I think we do follow-ups, and normally when you do such stories, you don't just leave it to die. When I'm working on a story, I think in February, for instance, JIDA scandal will be 2 years, but it's still very fresh on the lips of people. Sometimes it's good to get a story, follow it to its logical conclusion. No one would readily admit that they have done this, even if they have. And so,
but most of your stories have not gone through its logical conclusion. You're not happy about the actions that have been taken for the JIDA Suba, for example.
Well, the journalist, you can always do
what you have to do.
You have to do. And I think logical conclusion doesn't mean I can go and hold someone and drag them to court.
Of course.
But there are ways of letting the public know that at every stage in the story, for instance, government recently said, oh, we've taken 14.5 million cedis from JIDA, and they were jubilated. I came out with new information. Now, the amount we're supposed to take from JIDA is about 203 million Ghana cedis, and the deadline was given last year, December. And so at every stage of the story, you have to get the public or the audience informed, put the updates, and even when they say they are working on it, you don't just allow the story to die a natural death. So that when you do that, it gets people accountable. If some people are supposed to act and they're not acting, because we are not doing this because we hate somebody or we have any personal beef against someone, but at the end of the day, it's in the interest of the state. And if you're able to minimize wrongdoing, corruption, and all of those things, I think Ghana can only get better. And the biggest flaw shouldn't be that, oh, journalists do a story, after 1 week, everybody forgets about it and we move on. That's not what it should be.
My name is Stephen Anti, and you've been hearing Manasseh Azuri-Awuni, who is our investigative reporter with Joy News here. And you heard all the allegations that we are revealing. This will continue, I'm sure, beyond the studio, and we will get to the bottom of it. My name is Stephen Anti, and stay with us. We'll be back with an interactive segment.